We are back! Misscliks Outbreak and the new party is finally together.
Excellent. So, not long after Mr. Old Man McGee shows up here.
You can call me Ogre.
Ogre?
Ogre McGee. That's what my friends call me.
Ogre?
Ogre.
The high priest over here, Juris shows up at the.
Hello, Juris. I'm sorry to interrupt.
Oh, it's good to see you, McGee. You're looking a little worse for wear. The years have not been as kind to you as I had hoped.
There have been many years.
Yes, I.
Some kind, some not so much.
Well, at least we know you're not an undead necromancer raising people from the dead to plague civilization. If you were, you would probably look much better.
I laugh heartily.
I'm very
What are you young whippersnappers laughing at?
That was
We're
quite a
looking
joke
at
there,
your
sir.
future.
I'm not laughing at you, my friend. Certainly just laughing at the idea of a necromancer in these parts, or any kind of wizard for that matter.
Oh, yes,
should
yes.
not
very good.
underestimate the possibility of a necromancer starting this.
Well, of
and
course,
you-
our fearless leader, Wendy Bulldog here, would know more about those things than I would. I am her lonely general, but she is, of course, the leader of the War Council.
General, you must be Brick, right? Evelyn's brother.
At your service.
Ah, she had told me a great many things about you, although I don't think we've actually ever been introduced. My name is Juris. I am Evelyn's mentor and instructor.
No.
I've certainly heard of you, Juris.
Excellent.
Pleased to meet you. Charmed.
Oh, and if it's little Jimmy, he says, tossing your hair, rubbing your hair. How
do
are you
know-
doing, little Jimmy?
How do you know who I am?
Oh, I heard all about you from, Wendy here and Evelyn, and even little Leo spoke about you when you came back to town. I am the high priest here. My name is Juris. If there's anything you need, little Jimmy, you just come straight to me. I'll make sure you're taken care of.
Do you want a hard
Jeez.
candy, little Jimmy? I have some
No.
Werther's Originals.
No.
Whoa, right then.
I'll certainly take one off your hands.
There you go, Brick.
Why, thank you.
Well, I had some matter with Old Man McGee, but the rest of you are welcome to join as well. Wendy,
Well,
it might be
you're
good
soon
for you
enough.
to hear, and
I would love to be there for the formation of the official War Council, of course.
War Council. Now, we're not jumping to any conclusions here. This is nothing of the matter
Okay,
of
we
that.
can discuss it. We can discuss it. I just
I had a matter of old lore to discuss with the Old Man McGee. I don't know if youngsters
An
would
old
find
door.
it. Lore!
A floor.
Well, what's your first name, McGee?
Ogre.
Ogre. Ogre! You need to get your ears checked again. Hasn't your wife been plucking out the earwax?
When did I get married?
Oh my.
Ooh.
He looks at Wendy and is like, Wendy, you might have to be stepping it up a little bit sooner than we had expected. I don't know if Old Man McGee has much time left.
I've had my ears checked and they are not doing well.
You're like
Don't
50,
be so hard on yourself.
55.
It's been a long 50 years.
You're definitely not.
Like a spring chicken.
Don't do drugs.
You're like 55? You're acting as if you're like 95 right now.
I'm senile.
Wait, you're 55?
Something like that, like 50s or 60s, I thought we'd discuss. I mean, if you want to be older, you can just be older. That's fine.
Have you
But
got bronchitis?
I've got an old soul.
So you-
Despite my youthful appearance.
anyway, I was hoping to discuss the matter of you. Please, to the booth. And he takes you guys over to this nice, like, riverside booth that has a view of the water, but, like, there's still a tree in the way, so there's some, like, nice shade. It's a pleasant breeze, and in the background, you hear Muriel, the half-elf, who is playing the music. I don't know if you guys are hearing the music, but Okay. She was the one playing the music in the tavern. She's, playing a nice little melody on her lute and flute, but not at the same time because that would be difficult. And Juris pulls out an old, tattered book and plops it down. There's a little bit of dust that kicks up with it. And he says, "Now, I don't know if you youngsters are going to find this to be too much of interest, but Old Man McGee and I are scholars of sorts. And, well, all this zombie uprising stuff," he says, coughing and looking at Wendy, has got me thinking about what has come before. And I was digging through this old tome, a tome of legends around these parts, and I came across the story of Ryland Garmin. Do any of you youngsters remember the story of Ryland Garmin?
Ah, Ryland. Well, refresh our minds.
Evelyn would remember, he says, shaking his head.
I'm
Well,
not
I hope
saying
she
I
comes
don't
back
remember,
soon.
but there are some young people in our midst, and I would like them to hear it from you more than me, as you are, of course, the more esteemed storyteller and scholar.
Thank you. Well, Ryland was an adventurer out of the old Cresthaven, not the new Cresthaven, the old Cresthaven, from some decades ago, centuries ago.
The
Actually.
Cresthaven, I remember.
Yes, there.
As
Yes.
we knew it back then, there was this restaurant that I used
Yes.
to go to. That
Alice's restaurant. Yes.
Alice, yes, that's the one. The waitresses there were banging hot.
I mean,
Well,
you're
I
gonna
hear
hold
that's
it
where
for
you can
us
get the
to
best.
see with his eyes, right?
The food was so-so, but you go there for the waitresses.
Well, they put together a Winter's Eve dinner that couldn't be beat. Anyway, we're not here to talk about Alice's restaurant.
Oh, then why did I come?
Well, I'm trying to explain to these youngsters the legend of
yes,
Ryland
yes.
Garmin.
Oh,
He
yes.
was an adventurer out of the old Cresthaven, back before the river moved, and he was buried outside of the old Cresthaven. Now, no one knows where his tomb is, but he says, pointing at the book emphatically, it says here that he was buried with everything he owned. Now, if the legends of Ryland Garmin are true, and I'm not saying they are, because they've been passed word of mouth, there ain't nothing written down in this book. But he was a mighty warrior. He traveled the land. He went as far south as Valis. He went through the Stormtide Kingdom. Rumor has it he even crossed the Great Desert to the east. If anyone has anything that would be capable of fighting these undead, it would be this Ryland chap. That said, no one really knows the location of his tomb. It was supposedly hidden outside of Old Cresthaven.
Back in my day, they just called it Cresthaven.
Gives like a. I was hoping.
Back in your days, we just called you Men McGee.
Yeah, there were simpler times back then.
I was hoping you knew something about this, McGee. Does Jarbark have any literature on Ryland?
Oh, I'll have to get my spectacles, but I believe something could be dug up.
Excellent.
Old Cresthaven, that border. Can you remind me where that border was?
Well, the old river was farther to the east.
In my day, they just called it the river.
He rolls his eyes. And Old
I give him a
Cresthaven was on the eastern side of the old river. So I
The
presume.
river.
Yes, the river. Ogre, the
I
river.
get my...
Patting you very friendly on the shoulder.
Yes, thank you.
I don't rightly know where it was myself. The town was abandoned some centuries ago.
You said the river was more to the east.
Mm-hmm.
And Old Cresthaven was to the east, further still from the river.
I mean, it was on the river, but it was on the eastern bank of the river.
Like it is now.
No, currently we're on the west.
Right.
Jarbark is on the east.
I was just testing you.
So like it's actually in the direction I headed from Jarbark, right? Like the
Yes.
riverbed where
Yes.
I tried to cross but got stuck.
Yes.
East. East.
Direction sense.
East is to your right if you're facing north.
Actually,
Yes.
went up there a little while ago, and everything seemed quite in order, except there was a crossing that occurred. Seemed like maybe the 3 suspects I was looking for have went there. Maybe they were looking for this abandoned thing.
You know, on the map, I see an area with like lots of rocks in a row. Is that a graveyard?
If you zoom in, yes.
Oh, I can actually see the writing on
You
the
can
grave.
zoom in. You can't see the writing on the tomb,
They
but
still look like rocks.
well, they should look like gravestones if you get close enough.
Well, they obviously look like gravestones enough that I knew it was a graveyard. So,
Well,
so
there
that
are
is a graveyard.
Yeah, there are 2 graveyards in Cresthaven. There's the one on the east side of the river, which is like the nice graveyard, and there's the one on the west side of the river, on the way towards the monks, and that's just kind of like a ton of graves splotched out in the forest.
Okay.
You'll see that northwest of the Jolly Flagon.
Well, considering that the nice graveyard is on the east side of the river, and we're looking for a tomb that was supposedly right outside Old Cresthaven, which was also to the east of the river, we may have a place to start looking.
I think you might be misinformed. Old Cresthaven was by the Old River, which is some dozens of miles, I think, to the east. However, it might not. I mean,
The Old River? Where's the Old River? I'm trying to look at the map and know things.
there's nothing on this map about the Old River. This
So
is the map of
this
the
is
local
This
town.
is the new river.
This is the current river. This is the river.
This is
Okay.
In my
This is
day,
the river that's hip right now. The old stuff is somewhere else.
Okay, so the river used to. You know how rivers change course over time?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So the river used to be like further to the east, and then something happened, and the river course changed upriver a little bit. And so Cresthaven used to be further to the east, and then when the river changed, the townsfolk moved this way. But that was like hundreds and hundreds of years ago. It's ancient history. You barely even know anything about it. You know, there's no call to remember. It's just
I remember the ancient times.
Ogre, you weren't there.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's right. Thank you. Yes.
It's okay. You know,
My
Marigold was going to have
my-
some tea. Would you like some tea with us?
Yes. Thank you.
Excellent.
Well, how do we find this old river?
Well, I think Wendy here said she was recently there.
yeah.
I'm sorry, he didn't
I'll
say
feel
Marigold,
this
he said Dusty. Sorry.
Yeah, I know where it is. I can lead you there safely.
Well, if it'll get us closer to knowing what caused this horrible scourge, then
yeah,
of
and
course.
it's actually in the same way as the 3 suspects I was talking about earlier, so it sounds like a good plan.
Well, as leader of the War Council, I think that your advice should be followed, and I will follow you to the East River.
Like we're
What a
headed to
great
the
idea
East
you
River.
had.
I'm just bored. Can I come with you guys?
Yes, of course. We have some training to do. Target practice. I wink.
Here, I think I have a yo-yo for you. That should keep you occupied for a couple of minutes.
I'll take it.
Don't break it, please.
I will
Been
break
in
it.
the family for years.
I will break it.
And I like.
Willie and Rubella, the owners here of the Jolly Flagon. I'm sorry, not Rubella. Willie and Chef, the owners of the riverbed, come over at hearing of this and go, Jimmy, Leo hasn't come back yet, and he'll be so upset if you're not here when he comes home. You probably shouldn't go off. It's not safe.
Well, kind of miss Leo too. He's my only friend. But I don't really have a reason to stay, and I want to look for him.
You've got to let a young man do what a young man thinks is right to do. I'm with you, Jimmy.
You should enjoy your youth. It won't last forever. Ugh.
In a time like this, unfortunately, our youngsters have to grow a little bit faster.
Well, is it... I hope it's not too dangerous for him. He's only 12, after all.
I've seen death.
When I
already.
was 12, I don't remember. I think I was 12 one time for about a year.
I was 12 too, and I was already a mighty future warrior. I mean, we have to train this little man to become a man so that he can slay zombies and protect the...
I've already seen everybody that I know die.
Chef, the wife of Willie and the cook of the riverbed, and also owner of the riverbed, kind of gives you a strong hug that holds on for an extra 3 seconds too long, and when she releases, there's wetness on the side of her face, and she quickly hurries off, while Willie stands with his hands on his hips and shakes his head and goes, "Kids, they grow up so fast," and he wanders off as well.
I clap Jimmy's shoulder, and I'm like, when I was 12 years old, I was already running the farm because my parents were dead. I believe that you can be a man when you set your mind to it. I'm proud of you, son.
I don't really want to be a man. I'm bored. This was my story.
Do you want to be a woman?
No.
I can respect that as
Then
well.
what other option do you have? Back in my day, there were two types of people. There were men and there were women.
You can ignore him. Just be whatever you want, son, and I believe
What?
you know what it is you want.
I
You
will.
Jimmy the lady boy.
You could even be a halfling, really.
I hear that's big in Thailand.
At your height, it would be a possibility.
Well.
You know? But if you wait too long, it won't be a possibility anymore.
Leave me alone.
Do you have hairy feet?
Leave me
You
alone.
can have a surgery for that.
You're bothering the boy. You're bothering him. Let's
Let's
get out.
Or the
No,
girl.
no, McGee. Now. We also let these youngsters do their thing.
Oh, yes, yes.
Perhaps
Now,
you can head back to Jarbark and find information on Ryland.
On Thailand? What?
Ryland.
Oh, yes, an old friend of mine.
No, he died before you were born.
Oh, that's
He's
right.
the adventurer.
Oh, that's right.
If you can find the location of his crypt, perhaps we can arm ourselves with better
Yes.
weapons to fight the undead.
Yes,
Of course, we would
for
return
sure.
it afterwards because we are not grave robbers.
We'll
He says,
borrow it.
looking around and then making especially long eye contact with Wendy. We would never loot from the dead, but we may borrow to defend ourselves and
Of
then return.
Of course. Who do you think I am?
Obviously,
Kind of-
only as Ryland
I think
would
you
have-
are a cleric of Bellum, is what I think you
Well,
are.
I mean, we would clearly return it after we have stopped the uprising.
Good. McGee, you've raised a fine follower.
Yes, thank you. Yes. I worked hard on that one.
It sounds like it hurts you whenever you speak.
I don't know what I'm doing.
Oh, poor man.
Juris gets up and thanks you guys for your time, gives a nod to Willie, and heads out.
Well, we certainly have our work laid out for us.
Okay. And I think you guys are going to pack up and head to Jarbark. I'm not imposing that upon you all. Y'all.
No, no.
I am a married man. I will have to head home and tell my wife that I need to go save the town.
Wife name?
Her name is
If someone could remind me what my wife's name is.
Lucy.
I
Lucy
should
Rose.
probably tell her as well.
Okay.
Your wife can be named whatever you want, or you can be.
It can do that nowadays. I thought they made that illegal to name your wife.
Well, when you're the high priest of a town, you can get away with pretty much
Oh,
murder.
yes, all right, yes.
Let's be honest. Okay. So you head off to tell your wife. Brick, you tell your Lucy where you're going. Do you have anything in particular you would like to do or say?
Lucy?
No, Brick.
To Lucy.
Yeah. In general, is there anything you want to do before you head out?
Well, I go home, but I go home by myself, and I don't tell anyone what I say or anything.
Okay. What do you guys do
I
while you
meet
wait
them
for?
the next morning.
I want to kill a critter with.
Yeah, we're
The
going for the
magic rock.
critter hunt. We're going for target practice.
Okay. So you guys go for target practice. You're gonna go say goodbye to your wife and meet them back here the next morning. And it's now like 5 or 6. The old man McGee, the sun's already going down. Do you want to head back to Jarbark today? Or are you gonna wait till like the sun's back up?
Yeah, I'm getting tired.
Cool. So you all settle down for the evening. You guys do some target practice. You talk to your wife. You go to bed early. Get up unreasonably early as well. You're up at like 3 in the morning doing old man
Why
stuff.
is no one awake? Where's my newspaper?
Exactly. And we
I'm
will
there
take.
like an hour later, but she doesn't notice, and I just stand there in the corner like until
Yeah.
she notices me.
And I'm just like jerking off, probably. Thinking about the waitresses at Alice's.
All right. Anyways,
And we go to our second break, and we'll see you guys on the other side as old man McGee. And now.
Bye.
bye.
Still works.
Bye.